Hello, today's Bible study comes from John chapter 18, verses 28 through 40, and reads as follows. Then the Jewish leaders took Jesus from Caiaphas to the palace of the Roman governor. By now it was early morning, and to avoid ceremonial uncleanliness, they did not enter the palace because they wanted to be able to eat the Passover. So Pilate came out to them and asked, what charges are you bringing against this man? If he were not a criminal, they replied, we would not have handed him over to you. Pilate said, take him yourselves and judge him by your own law. But we have no right to execute anyone, they objected. This took place to fulfill what Jesus had said about the kind of death he was going to die. Pilate then went back inside the palace, summoned Jesus, and asked him, are you the king of the Jews? Is that your own idea, Jesus asked, or did others talk to you about me? Am I a Jew? Pilate replied. Your own people and chief priests handed you over to me. What is it you have done? Jesus said, my kingdom is not of this world. If it were, my servants would fight to prevent my arrest by the Jewish leaders. But now my kingdom is from another place. You are a king then, said Pilate. Jesus answered, you say that I am a king. In fact, the reason I was born and came into the world is to testify to the truth. Everyone on the side of truth listens to me. What is truth? Retorted Pilate. With this he went out again to the Jews gathered there and said, I find no basis for a charge against him, but it is your custom for me to release to you one prisoner at the time of the Passover. Do you want me to release the king of the Jews? They shouted back, no, not him. Give us Barabbas. Now Barabbas had taken part in an uprising. Ooh, amen. So we start off, and Jesus is being brought before Pilate. And they took Jesus from Caiaphas' house after the interrogation where Annas had sent him away to Caiaphas. And this was pretty much a two-part trial, maybe a three-part. Um, but the second part of this was the official meeting of the Sanhedrin, and you can see that over in the book of Luke. Um, Then they themselves did not go into the praetorium lest they should be defiled. It was a cleaning and a ceremonial time. So John used this touch to expose how crazy this was, that the Jewish rulers were celebrating about the Lord, and they didn't want to be uncleansed by their actions, but they refused to go against these commands regarding ceremonial being defiled by him. They refused to go against that, but they rejected God, and they were condemning an innocent man. Remember, Jesus was innocent. So I'm going to do this little thing about getting clean and making sure I'm clean for the ceremony, but I'm going to reject the Lord. I'm going to reject him, and I'm planning to condemn this innocent man. And this was bad. It was definitely hypocritical. And they did this so they might eat the Passover. And as I told you, the ceremony, this had to be huge and controversy in their bodies, in their mind. And this was the Last Supper. And remember that Jesus was crucified on the Passover or the day following. So with this hypocrisy being said, Pilate came out and said, what accusations do you bring against this man? Okay, Pilate wants to know, why is he here? Is he a criminal? And they thought they brought him for a good reason. They had favorable reasons to bring Jesus in front of Pilate, who was a Roman governor. But he goes, if he were not, they say to him, they answered and said to him, to Pilate, they're speaking, if he were not an evildoer, we would not have delivered him to you. Then Pilate said to them, you take him and judge him according to your law. Pilate might have known something. He did. Therefore the Jews said to him, it is not lawful for us to put anyone to death. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So the Jews can't kill him, but you Roman dude, you can kill him. That's what we think. So not only were they rejecting God, planning to kill an innocent man, but now they were lying, telling them that Pilate could kill him. And Pilate couldn't kill him. Death is killing somebody is killing somebody, whether you believe or you don't believe. So therefore the Jews said to him, it is not lawful for us to put anyone to death, that the saying of Jesus might be fulfilled, which he spoke, signifying by what death he would die. So Jesus knew how his death was going to be the whole time, and he had told them this. But now remember, Pilate was a Roman governor, and they thought Pilate was just going to be in there. Remember, Pilate was married to a woman that had dreams about Jesus. But it says, what accusation do you bring against this man? And Pilate was saying, hey, you got to tell me what's going on. I want to know what he did. If he were not an evildoer when they said it, we would not have delivered him up to you. Now, you said he was an evildoer, but what did he do? What did he do? And they didn't tell him. And Pilate they didn't want to make Pilate the judge. They just wanted him to kill him. See, they had already judged Jesus. They just wanted Pilate to kill him. And they said, we have condemned him. That is enough for you to know. All we want you to do is do our bidding and kill him. So the Jews were judging also. It was bad. It was bad. And Pilate, that's why Pilate turns around and says, nah, man, you take him and judge him according to your law. And Pilate, I think, sensed that they were being evasive when they were talking to him about who Jesus was and what he had done. So he said, no, you go do that yourself. If you can't bring me some information on this situation, then you will have to judge him according to your ways, your laws, and don't come up here anymore. So it says, so it seems. So, and then, it goes back. It is not lawful for us to put anyone to death. Ooh, that's the Jews speaking, but Pilate, we want you to carry this out still. The religious leaders explained why they did not want to judge him according to their own law. Because it's not lawful for them to do it. But I'm gonna make you a killer. I'm gonna tell you to do this. So that the saying of Jesus might be fulfilled, Jesus knew his death of crucifixion was going to be fulfilled, and it was in his own words. You remember when he said, if I be lifted up, and he said that with John 3:14. If you remember, he put Moses and he says, and as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up. So you got Pilate listening to these dudes, and he ain't feeling them. So then Pilate goes to who's being accused. Pilate entered the praetorium again and called Jesus and said to him, are you the king of the Jews? Because he had some questions for Jesus. And Jesus answered him, are you speaking for yourself about this, or did others tell you this concerning me? And Pilate answered, am I a Jew? Your own nation and the chief priests have delivered you to me. What have you done? Because Pilate's not a Jew. And he was saying, am I a Jew? And then he tells him, your people brought you here. So what have you done? Now, when he asked him about, are you the king of the Jews? Pilate had gotten to this case now. And he sent a group of Roman army men, troops, whatever, to arrest Jesus. And you can see that in John 18, a little bit up, 18:3. When Judas had went there to pick him up, there was already a group there. And this was Pilate's first look at the man that these people were claiming was an evildoer. But Pilate had doubt. Pilate's question had doubt. Pilate had seen things happen. He had known of kings, and he hadn't seen one like Jesus. And he said, "Are you speaking for yourself?" And Jesus just wanted to know if Pilate really wanted to know if he was truly the King of Jews. You asked me a question. Do you really want to know the answer? Because they already condemned me, the Jewish leaders. So he asked, "What have you done?" And Pilate just told him, as a Roman, I have no interest in this thing you guys going on with what you do. You are Jesus, you are a Jew, and from what they say, it sounds like it is a spiritual thing. And Pilate didn't want to do anything with this religious stuff. The religious leaders wanted Jesus dead. So he said he must have done something wrong. But Jesus answered him and said, my kingdom is not of this world. Because remember, he kept asking, are you the king of the Jews? And Jesus said, my kingdom is not of this world. Jesus told Pilate straight up that he was a king and could say, my kingdom. Jesus is a king. He also told Pilate that his kingdom was not of this world. It wasn't about politics and denominations and covering land and all this. It's not of this world. It's not of these manly things. See, and when you see the contrast in the kingdoms of this world, Jesus tells them, my kingdom didn't come from earth. It's in glory. My kingdom is not of your world. Um, and remember, Jesus's kingdom is about love and peace. And that was the foundations. And he told you, though, if this was my kingdom here, right where I'm at, my servants would be getting at you. They would fight you right now. They would get you. So once again, my kingdom is not from here. And he lets them know. But the one thing that he does let him know, he does tell him Jesus wasn't no easy dude either. He said, if my kingdom were of this world, my servants would fight so that I should not be delivered to the Jews. Uh-oh. They would fight so there would be no delivering him to anybody. But he goes back in love and acknowledging and knowledge sharing. But now my kingdom is not from here. Where I'm at right now, my kingdom is not from here. So Pilate therefore said to him, are you a king then? Jesus answered, you say rightly that I am a king. For this cause I was born, and for this cause I have come into the world, that I should bear witness to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth hears my voice. Pilate said to him, what is truth? And when he said this, he went out again to the Jews and said to them, I find no fault in him at all. Okay, now this is real simple. This statement caught Pilate's ear. He didn't mind the religious leaders of the Jews as long as they didn't act a fool and didn't try to run over Rome. Okay? And although they thought Jesus being the king might be a rivalry, so Pilate said, I want to check this out. Is he a rival king? Is his kingdom going to interfere with what I do right now? And you said, now he says, you say rightly I'm a king. So Jesus said, I didn't deny that. Jesus didn't say no. He didn't deny it. He said, you said rightly I am a king. And he was a king. Jesus is a king. But he insisted that he was born a king. And he was different from the kings that you have seen. Jesus said, I came to be a king of truth. He said, I came to bear witness to the truth. I came to be the king of truth. I'm not here for this nonsense that you are doing with this fighting and whatnot. I came to be a king of truth. And he tells them, for this cause I was born, and for this cause I have come into the world. Wow. And he's emphatic about it. And then he asks him, what is the truth? Jesus was the representation of the truth. And Pilate asked him, but Jesus told him, he said, for this cause I was born. The truth is me. For this cause I was born. And for this cause I have come into the world, that I should bear witness. I'm a witness to the truth. And Pilate said, you know what? I don't see nothing wrong with this dude. I don't see nothing wrong with him. And then Pilate just goes through a quick custom that he has to ask the people. In the other Gospels, it's a little more in detail, and you can see it a little more in detail. But their custom was to release somebody at Passover, and he asked the crowd, who would you like me to release, Jesus or Barabbas? And us evil-hearted people, we said Barabbas. Now, if you read in the other Gospels, you'll see that what Barabbas had done. And Barabbas was going against the government. He was trying to kill Romans. And he was a robber. Remember, he was named Barabbas, and his fellow rebels, and they had committed murder. And in the rebellion, he was not a good guy. And we took sin and murder and robbery and put it above innocence and love and compassion. That's why hate is so easy to do, and love seems to be one of the hardest things we can do. Because even when we had the chance to put true love first, we still went in the other direction and took a murderer and a robber. And one thing you have to remember is Barabbas knew. He knew that Jesus had died in his place, because this dude was a terrorist. He was killing folk. And he was even set free when Jesus was crucified. So when you talk about Prince of Peace, Lord of Love, even then Jesus was innocent, and he showed his kingship by showing the love, even by setting Barabbas free when we decided to go the other way. Amen.